Welcome to the Thrive Co podcast, exploring the inner side of success. I am your host, Nikki, and each week we will explore the mindset shifts, personal growth, and everyday tools that will help you to navigate ambition, manage stress, and build a life that actually feels good on the inside. Through solo episodes and honest guest conversations, we look at what it really takes to grow, change, and thrive in the modern world. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to the Thrive Co podcast. I hope you're all doing really good. I'm currently sat in the middle of my air-conditioned room because it is an actual heat wave. I feel like the last few episodes I've started off talking about the weather. Very British of me before anything else, but it's just because it's been so lovely and so sunny, and I think it just affects everybody's mood so much in the UK. But yeah, it's a heat wave. It's here and it's absolutely glorious. And I, for one, am not going to complain. However, I do feel like I am not complaining because I have the luxury of air conditioning in this house. So to everyone that doesn't have aircon and who has under boob sweat right now, I'm sending love and prayers. I mean, to be honest, by the time you listen to this, it probably won't be the case. But yeah, it certainly is right now. So that's all I can say. So I hope you're all good. I hope you all had a great week. I'm going to get straight into it because I don't want to forget what I want to talk about. I actually haven't made any notes for this session, for this episode. I mean, it's becoming quite the running theme these days that I'm just kind of doing it off the cuff. But to be honest, the reason for that is because this is something that has been on my mind this morning as it happened last night. And also it's been kind of a recurring theme, as a lot of these things are. And actually, I'm just talking from my own experience. So it's not really a kind of a scientific note-taking kind of episode. But what I wanted to talk about was, so last night I was in bed and I've always been pretty good at compartmentalizing life in terms of like being able to switch off. So I've always been quite good at, if there's something stressful going on, if there's something happening, I'm not generally one of these people that will go to bed and think about it or ruminate on it, unless it's obviously, something really, really big, like when my nan was dying and we were caring for her, obviously that was on my mind. But generally speaking, I'm pretty good at not lying awake thinking about things. Last night, and bearing in mind I've just mentioned about the aircon, so this wasn't a over hot kind of situation. I wasn't, tossing and turning because I was physically uncomfortable. I was actually fine. It was more the fact that I was just constantly tossing and turning, waking up it felt like every few minutes. But I know after going to bed and turning the lights off at 11:15, at 10:50, I was still not fully awake. I'd maybe dozed and woken up. And then it happened for the next few hours. It was just a really rough night, Steve. And it was because I was thinking about, well, not even thinking about, but processing everything that has been going on this last week with work and my career, and just the processes and the systems and the tech that I'm learning. I haven't officially started the new job yet, but I've been having to close down all my subscriptions and speak to my accountant about what I do moving forward and what I need and what I don't. And also then, because I'm already doing a project with the new business, we are starting to get me up and running on their tech, their systems, their processes. I've got an entire onboarding day. Well, it'll have happened by the time this goes out next week. So there was just a lot going around in my head, and I think my brain was just trying to process it all. And because I hadn't given myself any real downtime between kind of finishing the day and going to bed, it had all been very rushed. Like I'd been like cleaning around downstairs and we'd had a little mini barbecue outside and there was just stuff going on. And I think actually sometimes we forget how important it is to have that like body connection and to really check in with what's going on with us before our head hits the pillow. And so I was kind of tossing and turning. In the end, I thought, right, what do I know to help myself in this situation, rather than fighting it and just, constantly just trying to do the same thing over and over again and it not working. What can I do? And so I started using breathing techniques. I started really connecting to how did my body feel? Was I too hot? Was I too cold? And just really connecting with my breath and focusing on my breath and just making that the sole focus of my mind. And yes, it took a few minutes to kind of, for everything to kind of dissipate and to stop thinking about everything. But within a few minutes, I must have gone to sleep because I don't remember. I did wake up again later on, but it not for any length of time. It was only, kind of a minor awakening. So it just reminded me how sometimes we have like tech and we have systems like subscription-based systems and platforms and things like, meditation platforms and podcasting platforms and all of these like breathwork platforms. And actually, yes, don't get me wrong, the end goal of those is the same, right? It's always to help us calm our mind and connect more with our body. But actually, we can do that completely for free on our own at any time. And it's been really interesting because the last few weeks I've always had a bit of a morning routine, which I think I've spoken about on here before. Nothing major, just a couple of things that I do for my skin, my gratitude, and then, just taking a kind of a few moments for myself to think about the day ahead and what I want to get out of it, might setting my intentions. But actually what I've found over the last few weeks is rather than going straight into that, where possible, and this isn't always possible because especially like this morning, for instance, I had to take the dog out like super early doors because it was red hot outside. So we had to get him out like between 7 and 8 a.m. So I didn't actually get time to do it this morning. But, a lot of the time I will sit and I've been just taking a breath and just connecting with how do I feel this morning? So rather than forcing myself to go down the route of a to-do list, which is what I was doing in the past, and then if I wasn't hitting all those parts of the to-do list, if I said I'd go to the gym and I wasn't going to the gym, or I said I'd go on a walk and I wasn't going on the walk, berating myself, I'm checking in and just seeing how I feel. And honestly, sometimes in those moments, things come up that I just wasn't expecting. Like the other day, it was I wanted an iced coffee. Well, rather than just going and making my regular hot coffee, then I got my husband actually to make me an iced coffee because he's really good at them. But, just little things like that. Or like the one day it was connection. So I texted my friend that lives around the corner to see if she wanted to do a dog walk. There's just little things that come up when you quiet the noise and you connect with how you're feeling and connect with your body. That can really help. And it can help to like direct you and guide you. And, back before we had all this tech and all this noise and all these notifications and our phones and everything. And I appreciate the irony of me sharing this through a microphone to a laptop that you're probably going to listen to on your phone. Like that isn't lost on me. But before we had all this tech, our ancestors would trust their gut instinct. They would use the sun to tell the time. They would, birds fly in the direction of where they need to migrate just by knowing what time of year it is through their senses. We didn't have all this technology and all of this disruption to take us out of sync with our bodies and our body clocks and our feelings. And a lot of the time, that's where anxiety stems from. We are not connecting with ourselves enough, and we're not connecting with ourselves in the way that we've been designed to as humans because of all the technology that we've now got involved. So a few months ago, my go-to in the middle of the night waking up would have been put a podcast on or put a insight timer, like sleep guided meditation on. But I just thought, no, do you know what? I want to do this myself. I want to connect with myself in the rawest way possible and see if I can just manage my mind and slow my mind and just connect back with myself. And like I said, this is really, really useful to do first thing in the morning. But also, if you are somebody that suffers with anxiety or a racing mind or just anything really whereby you don't feel fully in control or your thoughts run away with yourself, which, to be honest, I'd say that most people have periods of that or episodes of that, even if they wouldn't class themselves as, a typically anxious person in inverted commas. And so there's just a few things that you can do that I've learned over the course of my time kind of studying this stuff and being interested in this stuff that can really help to like bring you back to your body just in the most simplest and easy way possible. There's obviously quite complex somatic work that you can do and deep consciously connected breath work. We're not talking about that today. We're just literally talking about in the moment. How can you connect with yourself? And this isn't just in the morning. This could be at lunchtime. It could be after a busy period of work. It could be after maybe more of a heated discussion or a meeting that's drained you. Just to connect back with yourself and the essence of who you are and just really think about, what do I need in this moment, or what is my intention for the rest of the day or the week or the month, whatever it might be. So in the moment, you can do things like shake. So if you've ever, and you might feel like a dickhead doing this, so maybe if you're in the busy corporate office, you might not want to stand there shaking. But if you've ever noticed animals, like Marley does it all the time, he could have an altercation with another dog. He could see something that spikes his adrenaline or cortisol. He could hurt himself a little bit, or like, just not quite move in the right way. And he'll shake off. They shake off any kind of energy or any kind of emotion to kind of reset themselves. So in the words of Taylor Swift, shake it off. So the bottom up shake, where you like stand and physically shake your hands, your arms, your legs, just to discharge all that like pent up physical and emotional energy and tension. That is a really good way of like resetting and coming back to your body. So I'd probably do that first, so that, especially if it's been a draining meeting or you've had an emotionally charged conversation or you're processing something emotional, the shake is a really good way to kind of just, get rid of that and move it through your body. And, what they say is, if you don't move it through the body, then the emotion has to come out somewhere. So that is when you get ill, or you get, tension headaches, or you might feel sick or drained. And it's because that emotion has to come out. So it has to leave the body, or it manifests in other ways. And as they say, the body keeps the score. Something like grounding, or what do they call it? Mindful anchoring, where you physically put your feet, ideally without your shoes on, but again, depending on where you are, I appreciate that might not be possible, but like just pressing your feet into the ground. If you can do it outside on the grass, then all the more better, because you are grounding with the earth's physical charge. But if you can't, and it's just at your desk or something, just taking your feet off and just putting them into the floor, feeling the contact between your feet, your body, the chair that you're sitting on, and actually just feeling all of those pressure points and coming back into your body and feeling what that feels like, what those sensations feel like. There's also something called sensory mapping, which I know is something that helps a lot of people that do have anxiety if they're going through an anxious moment, or they feel like they're about to have a panic attack or an anxiety attack. And that is where you look around the room and see things that you can see, you name things that you can smell, that you can touch, that you can hear, and just actually really engage with your surroundings. Unless your surroundings is the thing that is obviously making you feel anxious. But if it's not, and it's more of a in your head thing, actually engaging with your surroundings in the moment can really just help to bring you back to the present and stop you thinking about like the future and your mind running away with you, which in essence is what anxiety is, right? And then Another technique that I've used as well is called the squeeze and exhale. So it's where you like forcefully exhale all of the air out of your lungs. So literally just breathe everything out and hold for a minute, just to empty, well, not a minute, a few seconds, but turn a phrase, just that emptiness, and let your body like instinctively draw a deep breath back in. So you like exhale everything out and hold it until your body needs to take that breath, and then you take a big breath back in. And then, of course, things like what I did last night, which was the breathing. So you can do something called box breathing, which is where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, or 6 or 8, or whatever you feel comfortable with. Also, if you breathe out and exhale longer than you inhale, so if you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale out for 8, that what's the word? That I can't think of the word. It basically kicks in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest state. So it will trigger, that's the word, your parasympathetic nervous system. So breathing out for longer, exhaling for longer than you inhale is a really good way to really like bring yourself into that calm rest and digest that you need, to be able to just slow everything down. And being in that state tells your body, I'm safe, nothing's happening. Anxiety is the response to a trigger, but it might be a trigger that you've just imagined. It might be a scenario that you've imagined in the future, or it might be a conversation that you're making up, how it could go. But generally speaking, that breathing patterns and doing things to like help your body back into that nervous system state of rest and digest will tell your body that you're safe, and you'll tend to find then that your anxiety will dissipate slightly. So coming back to your body is one of the best pieces of advice that I can ever give you. Just in life, like you don't have to be running a crazy business or have screaming kids or be, in a state of complete panic to use these. And like I say, doing it first thing in the morning, just actually asking yourself, like, how do I feel today? And then giving yourself a few moments of just quiet to just listen to what comes up. You might be feeling great. You might be like, I feel fucking fantastic. I'm going to go and kick doors down and take over the world today. Not physically kick doors down, it's a turn of phrase, but you might be wanting to run a marathon, but actually there's times where you might say to yourself, actually I'm feeling a little lonely, I want to connect with somebody today, or I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I need to take some time today to just really slow down. It's honestly really quite crazy sometimes what comes up that you've not been aware of because you've not taken that time. And how often do we go through the day, and especially if you're in a busy job or you're running a business and then you've got kids, or you've got really busy after work commitments, and then you'll flop into bed, and it's no wonder we can't sleep, because our mind then suddenly goes, okay, now this is the time for me to process everything that's just happened. And look, I'm not out here saying, go and sit and meditate for 20 minutes a day. I think a lot of people are sick of the 20-year-old girls drinking their matcha and telling us all to go and, sit and meditate and journal for the first hour of the day. Like, for most people, that just is incomprehensible. You just, don't have the time for that. But what I am saying is, if you can just take those few moments and try and give yourself that reminder to do it through the day as well, it can really help. It really can help to just reset and get yourself out of your head, into your body, and giving yourself what you need in that moment. So I hope that has helped, landed, resonated. Please go and follow the show, top right on whatever platform you're listening to, and I will see you all again next time. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you are following the podcast, and don't forget to share episodes with a friend who may need it.